Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Stroke, staying clean. I'm so happy that you are part of my recovery. I'm so happy that you're here. And today, I want to talk about the past affecting our present. And I want to talk about the negative things of the past. It's like, for instance, me, I don't remember what my father looks like. All I can remember is him stopping by on three occasions, promising me and my brother the world, that he is sorry for his actions, that he's going to be a part of our lives. But it never materialized. And for my father not being there made me feel like I wasn't worthy, or maybe he was there, not there because of me. Uh, all types of negative thoughts were in my mind, and that emotional and that neglect, that painful neglect, was bedded inside me. So as I was growing up and I see other people in my family that their father was there, and friends that I knew their father was there, and how their father was caring for the family, I felt out of place. And this feeling carried into my adult life. And as I would watch my mother cry herself to sleep at night because of the lack of support, love, consideration, and her handling everything herself was very overwhelming to her, which caused her to suffer alone, quietly at night. And I would hear her cry because my room was right next to her room. I had to go through her room to get to my room. So that type of environment affected me in a way that was not pleasing. I felt self conscious because of the circumstances, because not having a father there and us suffering trying to make ends meet, which made life very difficult for us. So I carried that pain from the past into my present, which caused me a lot of pain and discomfort. That meant that I didn't know nothing about the connection of a family because my family was just surviving, trying to make ends meet, trying to survive the next day. We was always on the survival mode, and our moments of enjoyment is when the refrigerator was full, when there was food in the house. That was our greatest blessings, our greatest moments of happiness. Our friend was the TV programs and sports. Yes, I had a few friends that I would hang out with, But the point I'm trying to make is this, my past, built me to the person I am today. So as I look back at the negative things that happened in my life, it affected me. It made me look at life in a certain way. And I carried that pain, allowing it to live rent free in my head for years, which caused me to act a certain way. So, as I'm sharing about my past, think about your past and the things that has happened to you and your family in your past, and how you dealt with the situation at that particular time, which caused you to act a certain way in your present and to be vulnerable in your present. How are we vulnerable? Because it lives rent free in our head. We didn't forgive those who had harmed us. I did not forgive my father. I began to hate him for who he was and what he didn't do. And I carried that pain for 40 years, which multiplied as years go on. And my clarity of looking at the situation honestly has got clouded over the years of initial pain coming in from other areas in my life. Recovery taught me that I must clean the wreckage of my past. So those things that I set aside, that I did not let go and give it to a power greater than me and forgive those who had harmed me, will continue to live rent free in my head. That pain will still be with me. Why? Because I did not let it go. It's like there are people that find love in a relationship. And as they be there for a period of time, they find out that that person doesn't love them the way they thought they loved them. That you're not that important to them. And you find out that they found love and compassion in other places than you. So you are mentally, emotionally, and physically hurt. And you work hard to get over that. And you try to forget. You suppress the emotions and the feelings. We cling on to loved ones to help us through this very painful situation in our lives. And as we ask for the help, we still hold on to the pain. But recovery taught us that we must get rid of the wreckage of our past. And if we forgive those who have harmed us, then we don't carry it in our hearts and our minds, living rent free in our heads. We don't hold ourselves accountable for the actions of others because we realize they did what they chose to do. They made a conscious decision to do what they did, and they did it with any regard to my feelings. They was only looking out for themselves. So recovery teaches me that I must forgive them. Why? They hurt me. Why should I forgive them? Because I need to forgive them for myself. I need to let it go. I need to have the situation as a learning experience so I do not fall victim to the same type of behavior again. By forgiving, I must understanding what part I played in the situation. What did I do to contribute to the situation? And as I look back at my actions, I see that I had nothing to do with it. I am just a victim of the circumstance. But I'm believing since I'm young and not having enough information and knowledge about life and living life on life's terms, I come up with the wrong conclusion about the situation. So, as recovery teaches me to clean the wreckage of my past, it's understanding why I did what I did when I did and what frame of mind I was in at the age that I was in. And when I look back and realize, then I understand myself better. We all have trauma from the past. We all do. But the point that we need to understand is that we must forgive those who have harmed us in order to move forward to have a good, sound, prosperous life. What I learned in recovery is what I share on most of my videos that we have no control over people, places, or things, only ourselves, no one else. So that means when a person makes a decision to do something, they're doing it for the benefit of themselves, not you, but for themselves. That they're not looking at your point of view, they're not looking how it affects you. They're just concerned about doing it their way because they want their result to fit their criteria or what they want to do. And it has nothing to do with you. Because what's more important to them is the outcome that they're trying to achieve. But in recovery, we must face our fears of the past. We must face the things that are uncomfortable in our lives. If we want to get better, we must go through the wreckage of our past and clean the wreckage of our past. We must make our lives better by making ourselves better. That means Robert has to pay more attention to Robert because when I pay more attention to Robert, I make less mistakes. When I keep an open mind about life and learning and listen, then I'm able to find a new way to solve an issue. I remember when I had tunnel vision, where the way I looked at things was the right way, and it seemed like it got things done. But all I was doing basically was protecting myself from not feeling the pain of the past, which allowed me to carry my pain for 40 years in active addiction, living rent free in my head. But as I've been in recovery now for some time, I don't carry the past with me anymore. I've forgiven those who have harmed me, and I've forgiven myself for harming those who have harmed me. I also forgive myself for being a very vengeful person because I hurt a lot of people, because I was hurt. And I wanted people to feel as much pain as I did. So I was an expert of hurting people. That was my tunnel vision. But as recovery relieved me of my active addiction and told me to look at myself, I changed my behavior because I didn't like what I saw. I come to realize that I am my worst enemy because I do more damage to myself than anybody else can do to me. Why? I kept myself in active addiction for 40 years. I duped, conned, manipulated myself to stay in active addiction. I stopped learning for 40 years. But when I came into recovery, I started to learn. I began to have an open mind, and my life got better. The sad thing is, if I would have got recovery 40 years ago, wow, my life would be way greater than what it is today. But I duped and conned myself. Do you look at your past mistakes? Do you look at your failures and holding on to the pain and the resentment that people do to you? Do you look at it? Look at yourself in this manner? And by you holding on to the pain of a person that has hurt you, they're living rent free in your head. But the interesting thing is, they're going along with their life the way they see fit. They have forgotten completely what they've done to you in the past. But you keep living it in your head over and over and over again, carrying that pain, that animosity, and that hatred. And it keeps building and building and building up until you do something that you will finally regret. That's why recovery says we must clean the wreckage of our past. We only can clean our side of the street. We can't clean nobody else's side. That's up to them. And that is good for me because when I clean my side of the street, I'm good. If you don't want to clean your side of the street, then that's on you. My job is to live my best life, to make myself better, to learn from my mistakes, to understand myself. That's how my life gets better. It's not being in the business of everybody else's life and what they choose to do with their lives. They must find their way of living their best life. They must learn how to let go and let a power greater than themselves restore them to sanity. No one can do it for you, but you have to do it yourself. It's just like I stayed in active addiction for 40 years. I tried every means and method to do it my way until I got totally tired and gave up and was willing to try something new that I knew nothing about. And my life got better because I was willing to try something new. Are you willing to try something new? Look at your past. Are you still carrying the pain of the past? Do you know that by carrying the pain of the past into the present, you lose focus of today? You miss the beauty of today? You stop learning about today because what happened to you in the past? And most importantly, when I looked at myself from the time I was 18 and now I'm 66, I realized how many mistakes I've made over through the years. And by me realizing that, it lets me know that Robert is an imperfect person that makes mistakes. He has been making mistakes all his life. And everyone falls victim to the same thing. We all make mistakes in our entire life. Some are small, some are big, but the point is we constantly make mistakes. So, since we're all imperfect people and we make mistakes, then the mistake is not important. It's what we do after the mistake that's important. And in recovery, we're taught to do the next right thing. Don't question, just do the next right thing. We need you to do repetition of doing the next right thing. And once you do this over a period of time, you automatically do it. And you watch your life get better. You watch how things open up for you, how you see things differently, how you able to grow and become a better person. So the point for today is the past can affect your present if you do not forgive those who have harmed you and forgive yourself for allowing them to harm you, or forgive yourself for doing what you did to put yourself in this situation that you're in. And if you can forgive, have the compassion to forgive, you're not carrying that weight anymore. You're letting go. You're giving it to a power greater than you. And in the program of recovery says we give it to a power greater than ourselves that will restore us to sanity. So, for the well-being of a person, the well-being for Robert is to forgive those who have harmed me, forgive myself for allowing them to harm me, and to let it go and give it to a power greater than me, which will restore me and my sanity. And as time goes on, something happens. That emotional and mental pain will get lesser and lesser and lesser until it's non existent. And I become better. Life is a form of growing each and every day. We must learn how to be versatile. It's hard for me to be versatile to change because of the way I was brought up, my lifestyle. But I do reluctantly because of who I am. But I know that it's better for me to change than to stay where I'm at and let that stuff live rent free in my head over and over and over again. I've been through that road. I don't want that road no more. It kept me in active addiction for 40 years. I was medicating myself so much not to feel the pain. That's why when you hear me share some of my videos that I was high for 18 months, I was high for 3 years straight. And people say, you can't. What do you mean? I never ran out of dope. I fell asleep smoking dope. I woke up smoking dope. To me, that's being high all the time. And that was my life. And I was taking more and so I can stop feeling the pain of the past. Once I let go of the pain of the past, my life got better. I do have moments that when the circumstances look like my past or situation, I get emotional. Tears come down my eyes. But I don't feel that emotional pain like I used to. The tears is something to identify the situation with my past and the circumstances that happened with me. I understand that, but it's not overwhelming. It doesn't drive me to become other than myself. It just lets me know that I'm human, that I do feel, but I also understand my addiction and my recovery. So if you want to live your best life, clean the wreckage of your past. You have to go where the pain's at, the things that you stuffed, that you did not want to address, and work on yourself to make yourself better. Because when you make yourself better, then your life around you gets better and your association with people get better and your love grows for those that you love. This is Robert Goodman for Positive Strokes. I hope that the information I shared with you will help you in your recovery. Remember, you are the hero to yourself because you do the work on yourself to live your best life. You have a great and wonderful day.